Okay, so welcome to session number 92, and it's Phase 3, Season 1, Episode 3. So, story's been going for a while, and the new story has just started. Online today, we have Josh.
Hello, I'm Josh. I play Chauvel, the Paladin.
I was going to say, is that cutting out for effect, or is that just cutting out?
Just cutting out because he's overriding his microphone.
It's cutting out probably because of the we're on our Bluetooth headset.
Oh, okay. Do you need me to do it?
He's yelling.
No.
You probably don't want me doing it.
I'll yell it into my actual mic when I finally get onto my computer later.
Yeah.
Just for your interest, Josh, everywhere where I mention Paladin relating to your character on the timeline, it's in capitals.
Yep. Good. Perfect.
Well, isn't it in capitals in everybody's head?
That's why it's in capitals on the blog forum, on the website.
So do you mean we all should be saying Paladin in capitals?
You can if you wish to.
I don't know if my hearing could do with that speaking. I should probably get my hearing aid.
Well, now that you've got it, yes, that would help.
Yeah. I was going to wait for introductions and then do that.
Okay, so in that case, we'll jump over to Ariadna.
Oh, wait. I am...
Not the Paladin.
Not the Paladin. I'm trying to remember who I am.
Thea.
I should know by now. No, it's not Thea.
Thala.
Because if it was Thea, I'd be introducing a Mandalorian.
Oh, they're close. There's one letter difference between the two shortened names.
Yeah, that is my fault. I should have done a lot better when making up names.
Well, at least it's better than using the same name in every game and getting more confused.
Well, technically, both of their lengthy names are quite different from each other. It's just the shortened version. So I am a druid tree speaker. Not that I've got a tree to speak to at the moment, or nor have I seen my tree recently. Indeed, with the current war, I'm not even sure if my tree is still alive. But I've got plenty of stories to share with her when I do finally get back home. I am a seasoned Fey elf. I am learning that sometimes turning into animals is more fun than actually being an elf. So might spend more time doing that. Because the last time I learnt a significant spell, I almost drove myself dumb by losing intellect with my planar ritual.
Yes. So some you read left to right, some you read right to left.
Yeah, I figured that out pretty quick after that one went wrong. So that's me.
Okay, now you've got a chance to dash off and get your hearing aid.
Yes, that's what I was going to do.
Moving over to M.
Thank you.
Hello, I am M. I play Zal, your ever-lovable cleric wizard.
Failed Ranger.
There we go. It happened this week. It didn't quite have the same effect last week with you feeding me.
Well, Ariadna tried.
We did try. I have had a bit of a hard time in this war, I believe. I had a bit of an accident with a spell going wrong. A big fireball killed a lot of my men.
I put the number down as 5,000 for you.
I about that.
Martin just said that he put it down as 5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of men.
Just a few.
Yeah, it's in the timeline officially now for you.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks.
I thought it was over 9,000.
No, 5. 5, not 9.
Wrong quote.
Yeah.
Wrong quote, yeah. Good reference, but wrong. Thankfully, very, very wrong. Yes, so he's still a little shook up from that. He's probably sent a letter off to his budding boyfriend, trying to, let off a little bit of steam and emotion because he's a bit thrown from that, and just how tough this war has been so far.
I think we're probably all feeling how tough this war is.
And it's only the first year of the war.
Yeah, you sound so happy and positive and optimistic. As only a GM putting his players through a war would sound.
Hey, you had an entire 5 years of notification that it was coming.
That's true. That's true.
It's not like it was sprung on you. Surprise! Which brings us to Ross.
Because he is a surprise?
Well, he got the surprise child.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Yes, I'm playing the alcoholic swashbuckling halfling, who's now happy that he's no longer cursed.
And missed out on the ocean adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been...
Timing, right?
Interesting. Yeah, it's always the way. The pirate misses out on anything that's seafaring.
Well, the Wednesday group ended up on the sea, so that's where I was saying it was quite amusing that you ended up on the land.
Mm.
So what else does Yodri have to say for himself?
Well, the fact that I've got post-traumatic syndrome or whatever.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yep. So I'm now happy that I'm no longer cursed because I can now drink my sorrows in alcohol.
You can self-medicate. That's what they call it, self-medicating. Yeah. 1 shot at a time. 100 shots if need be.
Which means that I can now fly gnomish flying contraptions because I could only do that while I was drunk.
Not that anyone can say crashing into the ground is technically flying, but...
Mm-hmm.
Well, walking away with it is classed as a landing, as I believe that the gnomish quote was.
I was going to say, you be careful. Grindelwaffle's keeping an eye on you, but he's no longer with the party, so you're safe.
Well, no, the thing is, there's no way I'll be able to get to one of those aircraft anyway, because you've got the Royal Gnomish Air Force that is probably going to be wanting to defend their areas from...
That's if they still exist, because there's rumour that they all got burnt down by someone dropping a devastation orb over the Alphatian capital. They had actually sided with Alphatia.
But I thought it was Rockholm was where the gnomes are.
They were, but they had sided with the Alphatian air fleet.
And so they were all over in Alphatia when the orb of devastation was dropped on them. Why can't I say V's for some reason today?
Because everything is very important, so I should keep making sure V's are in every word.
Mm.
But I'm sure there's one Gunstar left.
Where does that leave Grindelwald? I know he's in a different party, but does that mean he's like an outcast because he didn't side with the Alphatians?
Well, he's not part of the air fleet.
Okay, so that kind of leaves him neutral?
Leaves him neutral.
Okay.
The reason the air fleet sided with them was the Alphatian air fleet was the biggest in record, and the gnomes don't side with the people who aren't going to survive.
Yeah, I gather it was a case of if you don't, we'll destroy you, and so they're like, well, we don't want to be destroyed. There were other options they could have taken, but it's an understandable one.
None that they saw that would let them keep their ships.
And we don't have a Sue.
Sue hasn't joined yet, and Sue may join later, but I'm deciding to start as close to 7 as possible from now on.
Fair enough.
And make sure that everyone gets to enjoy a game.
Absolutely fair.
Okay, so, considering M is currently with sore throat, I won't get her to do the recap of what happened last session.
Oh, well, who gets to do that?
Would you like to do that?
No, because I have no memory of last session.
In that case, I'll do it for you all.
Aside from making myself dumb.
I have managed to give you a timeline with the dates of all the important events as I noted down in the session.
Okay, cool.
So you can look up episode 1 and episode 2 and actually see the events specific to those dates, or look at the month in question and see those dates sitting on the month as part of the timeline.
That sounds pretty cool.
Well, it's taking me over a week to get it all working.
It usually does.
Yeah. Well, each bit is a little step forward to a little more complexity and fun from my end.
Okay, alright.
And in this case, you can actually look between Tuesday and Friday and see the differences. And Wednesdays are in the calendar, but not updated fully.
So, is there just one example from Tuesday and Friday in terms of differences? Just
Well,
for those of us who can't read the screen.
okay, so that's the Tuesday one, which includes episode 3.
Yep.
That's the Friday one. But if you look in the timeline, you'll see that
Oh,
there
wow.
is...
Yep.
This is Tuesday and Wednesday. Friday should have been in there as well. Something's gone wrong, but I'll fix up on whatever
Well, you know
happened
now
there.
because I asked so that you could show me.
Yeah. But fixing all that takes a bit of time.
I need to get a new laptop before I can fidget with all of those.
Okay. So what happened was, in the last 2 sessions, you were assigned to Fort Lakeside at the north side of the lake. Helped by a bunch of elves, you were sent to slow the master down from taking the fortress because it was before the major river, which meant there wasn't a way to retreat from that fortress if it fell. So with that in mind, you had a contingent of elves, a contingent of Ethengarian horsemen, as well as some infantry. Not much because, to be honest, it was hilly, mountainous terrain, and you wanted to be able to move people quickly.
Mm.
With much losses, you managed to hold off the master long enough to shore up the defences of the fort and hold the fort against the master before he was stopped for the season of war. He received a setback, which I'm sure you all consider you'd done yourselves. You'd received notification from the south side of the lake on how to defeat the master's castle. That had been...
Is that the tower that we...
Yes.
There was a tower with crystals?
Yes.
Yep.
Mobile castle.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yep.
And afterwards you found out that it had been sent to you 6 days after you received it.
The information about how to destroy it
Yep.
got sent to us 6 days after we were... So Drazzle sent it to us?
Yes.
Doing some sort of timey-wimey Doctor Who thing?
Well, he can hand it to himself and hand it to you.
I see.
It's very easy for him to pass things between himself.
Does he literally go like this? Or does he actually hand it over to another Drazzle?
Well, you've seen him do it through the back of his cart.
Ah, okay, so he hands it into the back of his cart and someone takes it from him.
And he takes it from himself.
Yeah, but he technically doesn't look and talk to himself. He just passes on information.
As far as you can tell, unless he does have whole long conversations with himself, which is hard to tell as well.
Yeah, okay.
He doesn't really do that in front of people.
No.
You know, talking to yourself can be seen as a sign of madness.
Or in the case of some of us, it's seen as a sign of sanity.
Yes, but when you are answering yourself with different voices...
I think I got to start doing that. People might stay further away from me when I'm in public.
Well, if you can do a really guttural kill them all, I'm sure people will tap back from you.
I could go with a harsh whisper.
Or be starting to say my precious all the time.
Yeah, that would work. The question is should I steal Martin's engagement ring?
Well, it is a wondering.
It is, and it was made by the guy who did it for the movie, and then when he passed away, taken over by his nephew.
Yeah. Okay, so with all that, you managed to save the fort and keep the fort alive, such that they released you to return to the capital and let them know what had happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're picking up this session from the... We should actually update that point of the time where I can find my mouse. Here's my mouse.
How
Okay.
many of the 5 screens you're looking at is it hiding on?
It hides on various.
I'm surprised you don't actually have more than 5 screens, to be honest.
Well, I have the ones that matter.
Which would be the one that you're running all the online role players through?
Pretty much. And the one that does the recording of the session. I'm making sure Ross is listed as actually there, because that does help.
Yep.
Okay, so the dates are all fixed. So it is the 15th day of the month, of the 5th month. And you are all receiving honours from the Chancellor of Darakan. So he's giving you each a what? Making sure I get the wording right here because I had the wording written down. Okay, so you get an award from Darakan, referred to a little brown emblem with the date of AC 1010 on there. So it represents the mountain campaign for the year 1010. And as your character gets further military honours, you can end up having a resplendent colour scheme all over you, showing all the different awards your characters have been in. And so you get this for being one of the commanders on the battlefield. Most of the common soldiers are just given a lesser version of that.
Does Cheval get extra ones for being bounced off the portal thing and thrown to the ground at high speed?
Well, you can give Cheval as many awards as you like.
I owe her one for that one.
She gets the special award.
Yeah, the non-dentable award.
And so yes, then
I am the rock. I am the rock that shall be thrown.
and you see
I am
that,
the one who breaks glass houses.
and you hear that those who fought on the south side of the lake got a green medallion for their uniform, representing the land campaign to the south of the lake,
Mm-hmm.
and those who fought on the lake got a blue medallion.
Okay. So we're on the mountainside, so ours is brown.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they seem to do those sort of things to help represent your different fields of battle. So after this, you end up going out on a splendid drinking binge with the help of Yodri and his "I'm no longer allergic to alcohol" cure.
Yeah.
I'll bring the drinks to and from the people because I don't drink.
So was that about right for Yodri there, Ross?
Yep. Well, since I've got the flask that can make, what was it, 1 gallon of, or whatever, of ale.
Really? You can drink now and you're going to waste your drinking capacity on ale? Not a fine wine or aged scotch?
It's been so long since he's drunk, he's happy for rock gut.
I don't know. You think the standards would go up?
You would hope so.
And it also keeps the men happy, well, the foot sloggers happy as well.
You're handing your ale around to all the foot sloggers, or you're saying that you're happy to just have a beer with the guys?
Well, the fellow comrades.
Yeah. I was trying to think of comrades, but I couldn't think of the word.
Well, he could be drinking with the red shirts. Those doomed to die next.
I don't know.
Cheval's gonna find the finest spiced liqueur.
Yeah, I was going to say, after you've been through a war, finding a nice spiced liqueur or something just a bit special would be worth doing.
And basically, this is the place to find just about anything because
Yeah.
with the war going on, Darakan has made sure that those who come back here have their choice of luxuries.
Yeah, well, they might be out to fight again fairly soon, so...
And some of them don't come back, so
Yeah.
they're making sure that those that do come back believe that the fight is worth it.
I'm heard in my letters that some party members in other groups lost their souls,
Yep.
albeit temporarily. So I'm guessing if you can lose your soul, it's not fun.
It's not. They were very much undead for the time their soul was away.
Mm.
And they had no sensation, did not benefit from food, drink, or other sort of stuff. And
Our group didn't get that, did we? We escaped
let's see.
that fate, didn't we?
No one lost their soul, no
Yep.
one lost their body, no one lost their life or their sanity. So you did well.
Yeah. Only my intelligence for a short amount of time, thankfully.
A lot of things were possible.
And Cheval lost her constitution for
For a while.
quite some time.
Was quite sick.
You can keep a good paladin down.
Okay, so morning comes around after some of you not remembering what happened, and other yous wishing you didn't remember what happened, depending on just how debaucherous the
You
halfling
see,
got.
what Thala really needs is a companion like Ape. Can ride around on one of the horns on her little helm thing that she's got and cover up her eyes whenever Yodri does a naked run after he's had too much beer. No denial on Yodri's side.
And yes, so you wake up finding yourself back at Redrian's Night River Inn with your companions, making sure you made it home safely. It's handy having followers who look out for you. And as you get yourself back together, you find out that Redrian's asked you to come in for a meal and a catch-up so he can be abreast of what you're up to and let you know what sort of things need assistance this year.
Sounds like quests are being handed out.
Quests are always being handed out, I'm sure.
Can't wait to be distracted to the shiny thing to the left.
I will take being distracted by the shiny thing to the right. Zal can have the one in the middle. Which one are you going for, Yodri?
Whichever
Thing on the side.
Didn't hear Yodri, so could Yodri please repeat?
Whichever's closest.
Okay. So, as you're getting ready to catch up with Redrian, you hear the rumours going around that the Dwarven King has deployed his palace outside Darrakan City. And no one actually knows the last time a Dwarven King has left Rockholm.
So he's got a whole palace
Yes.
outside the city.
Well, it's referred to as a palace, a castle, a fortification, a bloody big thing
But
with
we're
walls on
talking
it.
a really proper-sized palace.
Yep.
Just turned up.
It wasn't there the night before.
Okay. So would we take this like one of those
It's like
magic towers?
it's some form of dwarvish magic,
Okay.
and fast enough that there was no warning it was coming.
Fair enough.
Maybe it's an inflatable one. You've just had all these dwarves blowing into it all night.
I'll be right back. I'm just gonna feed Mira and put her to bed.
All good. So you hear about the dwarves having made their their king has made it to the outside, and you get to sit down and tell Redrian about your exploit. So what does Yodri tell Redrian?
Basically, how the paladin managed to draw out a company of liches, and basically we started attacking those things.
A company of witches?
Witches and liches, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There might have been both.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to ignore the fact that the paladin caused a failed charge that got his company wiped out. Just going in on the aftermath that he managed to flush out the elites of the force, and we managed to smite them.
Fair point.
Yes, and while that is quite impressive, does Zal update anyone on what he faced? I'm assuming that's a no.
She might be with Mia.
I was just checking.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, give me 2 seconds, Martin.
all good.
Would you like? You sure?
Yeah.
I'll leave it in the fridge for you.
So what was it, fish?
Yeah. It's just some fish, so for a little bit later. I'll finish mine because I
So-
presume you're going to ask.
Well, Em was going to get back to us shortly, so did you want to update Redrian on things from Thala's perspective?
I will relate with some amount of embarrassment that good news. I've learnt how to do the planar ritual, and I've successfully summoned both an angel and a wind elemental. But in doing so, I also accidentally summoned a demon and struck myself dumb for a couple of days. So didn't start off well, but finished, with a good ending. And with help of said wind elemental, we were able to push the
Master's forces.
the
back.
Master's crystals in his towers out of alignment, which seemed to implode everything. But again, on the slightly negative side, I did end up accidentally. What's that thing where you?
Slingshotting?
No, the pebbles. Where you skim. I accidentally skimmed our paladin off the actual earth, but she seems to have survived it, thankfully, without too many dents to her body or her armor. And to our grave misfortune, though, we did lose a griffin, who got sucked into the imploding forces of the Master.
Wait, did we?
You did.
We did. The griffin that Cheval was riding was too close, so because I yanked Cheval back with the vine whip,
I thought I rolled both of those.
no, one of them didn't make it. The one that Cheval was on, unfortunately,
Was too close.
was too close and got pulled in when the implosion happened.
I don't remember that from last week. Oh well.
It's okay,
Well,
it's on video, you can watch
I
it.
was going to say, you could just rack up one more view on the videos and just watch towards the end of the session for last fortnight.
Okay, so and then it's up to M. So what does Zal say about the battle that he remembers?
Which battle? The first one or the second one, or just both?
The battle as he's referring to is technically both. It's basically the war that you've been to since you set out to stop the Master coming forward this season.
Well, I guess I start with the mishap with my spell decimating a huge chunk of our forces, which I deeply regret. Then the struggle we had trying to face off saving Cheval, who had led that failed charge.
And many Ethengarians lost their life.
And many Ethengarians lost their lives in that. Then go into the battle on the hill where we fought the sort of walking fortress thingy. Sorry, I'm
That's okay.
a bit brainy today and can't talk Well,
Understand. I was trying to keep it brief for you. Okay, so then Redrian goes into the other major sides of the campaign, saying that there was much fighting on the southern side of the lake, where they faced off with a Nightwalker,
What's a Nightwalker?
quite a powerful undead that's also a demon,
Okay.
and most creatures can't stand up to it.
Does Drazzle have a sketch?
He does. He shows you a picture of one, which I can
Oh, you got one?
just happen to have one handy.
Oh wow, that looks scary.
So
Is it that big in comparison to the people?
yes,
So we're like, what, this size?
yep.
So that's Cow Creek's large in comparison to that.
Oh, Cow Creek's medium.
Cow Creek's medium. Okay, so that's pretty scary.
It is.
That's a pretty big creature.
It is, and they
Because
managed.
most people would only be like half that size.
That'd be about the height of Cow Creek's there.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
that's a medium-sized creature.
Yeah, okay. I mean humans. I'm making you get up again, aren't I?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a matter of visualization and perspective. Okay. Okay. Still pretty large. Who defeated this Nightwalker?
It was a warrior known as Lani the Undying.
Oh wow. That sounds like Calcrix's friend. Was Calcrix there as well?
Cow Creek's was as well.
Okay.
Though there's news that Cow Creek's almost got defeated by the Master, and that the only reason Cow Creek's managed to make it out was a friendly creature called Ape had saved her. So
You mean the tiny little plant thing that lives on a horn
yep, it
saved her?
So I actually have notes on that.
Yep.
That came back. Let's see, where is it? Where I've got it in there. Okay, so basically, Calcrix had her right wing shredded by a spell,
Oh, okay.
and as she was plummeting to the ground, Eep managed to form over the shredded wing to soften the landing,
Oh wow.
and somehow got Calcrix back to safety before the Master's forces could reach her. And Drazzle did a drawing showing Eep turned into a stretcher that flowed across the terrain, making it back to friendly lines.
Oh wow. That is pretty cool. Is Calcrix okay?
Calcrix is okay, but has a black scar through her wing membrane where it got shredded.
Mm.
So yes, I had put it up there.
Sorry, I have not been up on the website.
That's okay. It only went up there today, so
Oh.
if you
this is-
didn't actually have time to get up
This
there,
does
and have a
not
look.
show me as being a lax player then.
But I thought you'd appreciate seeing it up there.
Mm.
Okay, so yes, they did have a hard time fighting, and once they took out the Nightwalker, it had the same effect of taking out the leader of the undead knights facing Chauvel, where
Oh, I see. The witches?
the liches, as he said.
Oh, liches. Sorry.
It's okay. And then they also faced a tower, though according to the timeline, they faced it 6 days after you did, but gave you the information to fix it, to face it.
Not questioning that.
Yes, Drazzle has a way of bending time to your advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Then on the lake itself, they had various halfling pirates facing off against the Master's boats until they managed to awaken the monster of the deep, which turned out to be a creature that they refer to as the Godslayer. A titan crawled out of the lake that is also referred to as the Turesk.
Wow.
And it attacked the Master's forces over Akasoli.
So when you say Titan, you mean a lot bigger than that thing there?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably as tall as I am in comparison to the
Oh.
figure.
We heard that. We heard a Titan in the distance. but we couldn't tell what was happening.
So after it managed to shatter the Master's protective wards, another party member was able to attack the Master directly, destroying their artifact to split the world tree in half.
Wow.
Unfortunately, that got the Master's attention. So it
As it would.
it formed what appeared to be a spiritual form of a dragon, and one punched the Turesk back into the lake.
Jeez. Is the Turesk alive?
Well, rumours are if the Turesk dies, the world dies. So yes, it's assumed that it's still alive.
Wow. Probably not feeling too good though.
Yes. Most likely gone back to sleep. The last time it got punched like that, it was asleep for close to 4,000 years.
Why are people punching up this poor world creature?
Because for some of them, it's part of their quest for godhood.
I feel like the criteria for becoming a god should be changed. Punching up innocent world creatures doesn't seem like an ethical, honourable way of becoming a god.
Well, it's also known as the Great Devourer as well. So it's not easy to stop.
Is that like a negative creator?
Well, what it does is it destroys everything in its path, mostly civilizations,
Yeah.
and leaves fresh natural growth behind it in its
Yeah.
wake.
That's a negative creator. It creates through destruction.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can understand why people don't welcome it. But I don't know why you'd punch it either.
Well, he stopped it.
You got to remember, Thala's a druid, so you know.
This would be one of the manifestations of her beliefs got stopped by the evil guy.
Yeah. So as far as Thala's concerned, it's a pretty mean-spirited, horrible thing to do.
But the east side of the lake that got swelled with water from the crashing of the Titan back into the water has had fresh growth that hasn't had in thousands of years.
Oh, I
So
see.
new plants are springing up everywhere that they thought extinct.
Would that have helped push the Master back because his entropy and the resurgence of life would probably overwhelm him?
Possibly, but he could also absorb it and
Oh, okay. Yep.
and kill that as much as it grows. But he was on the west side of the lake, and the growth was on the
East side of the lake. Okay, away from him. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, at least the Turesk is still alive, I guess.
Yep. Though they also believe that a demon is burying into its heart.
How do you get that out?
They don't know. That's what apparently was centered on the island.
I see.
So the demon of the lake literally was a demon feeding off the souls that died in the lake
Okay.
to try to take over the Turesk
Is that something we should do something about?
eventually.
Okay. All right.
But its power level is quite a lot higher than yours.
The demon?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, maybe one of your other groups could do that. You know, your older questers that have lived through all of this stuff.
Okay, so that is his update on what's been happening around while you've been busy in your own campaigns.
Yep.
And he does say that he has heard a few rumours going around.
Does he have any news of how some of the cities are faring? I'm particularly interested in where were we? Nemiston? Things okay there?
Possibly, but
He doesn't know?
I was getting through what I had first.
Okay, alright.
Yeah,
I was just
yeah.
checking. I didn't know if you were moving on, or whether or not it was a good time to ask that question.
You can ask the question. I'll just try to get to it when I finish what I was going to do.
Yep, that's awesome.
Okay. Because he was trying to tell you about what's going on in the world that he needed help with.
Oh, well, yeah.
Okay. So, he does say that at the moment there's one one of his investigative groups has decided to go off and try to save some captives that have been taken to a place called the Grey Castle in the forest of Alfheim. They've done some investigations and think they know where it is, but he'll keep you posted if they disappear and he needs to send someone else.
Okay, that'll be fun. The last group looking for a group of missing people gone missing.
Some of the stories, it's been the fourth group to go in that has found the other three.
Okay. I don't know if I want to be the fourth group that might go missing.
He talks about how the Etrugan have now gotten behind a single leader.
Okay.
So, first time in the history of the clans, since Etrugan himself left the clans, have they united behind a single voice. And
That voice says, Paladin.
he does when he looks your way.
Yeah.
I was going to say that voice might actually say something quite different, but you know.
And it's made a lot of the Darrican people nervous because a united clans is something that they worry about.
What do we know about the Etrugan people? Like Josh and Emmy are Ethengar.
Ethengar,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
So from what they know, the Etrugan people are an insular, warlike culture that celebrates animals and animal kind as
Sounds like Thala's people.
as a big push in accepting people who are different.
Sounds like Thala's people.
So you will find more variety amongst them than just about anywhere else in the world, and most of them are outcasts. The only animalistic humanoid people they don't accept are gnolls.
Okay. Gnolls are the hyena-like.
They are the hyena-like people because they are. You'd probably say the most barbaric of the animalistic people,
Okay.
and they don't get along with anyone else, including most of their own clans.
Mm.
So you'll be hard pressed to see them actually do so. Okay, so that's his talk about that. Then he does say that the Broken Lands region has finally fallen under the domain of a single king. And there's an orc king that has taken over the region and has formed his own court.
Okay.
So he
This-
has accepted all the outcasts, cast tribes into his court.
So this is another fractured group that have come under one chief again.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
seems like a trend.
Well, the last time they came under a single chieftain was when they rampaged and destroyed all the cultures until they reached where they are.
So it's like the Etrogans in the sense that
It's another threat.
it's considered a threat, but may, you know, in terms of the master attacking the world, maybe these groups feel that they need to come together under one chief in order to fight the master off. And to be honest, who would blame them?
And there is a fear that the orcs of Thar, as they are known, even though they have multiple other tribes there, might side with the master instead of everyone else.
Oh, well, that's a bit of a worry.
Because the master does have a lot of troops in common with Thar.
Is it Thar?
It's Thar as the name.
Okay.
So King Thar has got himself a force to reckon with.
And do we know who united the Etrugan?
No, that information hasn't been passed on. Just that they've gotten behind a single chief.
Okay.
Now in Darrican, they are. It's been discovered that the city of Akasoli has been sent to hell when they dropped the world tree on that city last year.
The whole city
The whole city, yes.
was sent to hell.
Yeah.
How do you send a whole city to hell?
He responds by saying, "How do you drop a world tree on a city?"
Okay, so when the world tree was put on there, they pushed down to hell?
Quite possibly, he says. He has no idea. It's not something he understands.
Okay.
But they've managed to send about half the citizens of the city to hell as well.
Well, that would be a relocation they wouldn't be fond of.
And one of the southern army managed to get out the other half before the city fell.
Okay. So we're looking at trapping thousands?
Probably tens of thousands or more.
Okay, so trapping...
It's a very large city. Or it was a very large city. And that may have been part of how the Master managed to get a foothold by doing so.
Okay.
Displacing a location with his own location.
Oh, I see. Yep.
Okay, so there is the Dwarven King on the outside of the city here, who has brought his own palace to deal with the merchant princes and special envoys. He has a group who's gone off to treat with the king to find out if they can assist him in his quest.
So someone's already talking to him?
Someone's already talking with him. And there's also a discussion about the dealing with the cult of the dragon in Norwald region, who are looking to bring back the dragon god of chaos, and the cult calls themselves the Chroma Conclave.
That sounds vaguely familiar. I think it's because Calcrix has written to Thala about not the Chroma Conclave. She got a shield. She wrote to me about. Is that related to that?
It's the opposite god to the one that Calcrix has looked into. So Calcrix has a shield representing the dead god of law for the dragons.
Okay, and this is the god of chaos?
God of chaos for the dragons.
That doesn't sound good.
Well, there's a lot of bad stuff happening.
What's the impact if they resurrect this god of chaos?
He doesn't know.
Okay.
He's never seen a resurrected god before.
So, you're talking about needing help in this area. What kind of help would you be looking for?
Finding out what's going on.
I see. Kind of the similar investigations when we were investigating the crushing wave and all the other people we ended up making friends with, and then getting griffins and
Yes.
and the whole bit from.
And potentially intervening if necessary.
I see. Yeah.
Because you can't have too much chaos going on right now, otherwise no one may survive the war. Okay.
You said the Chroma Conclave, didn't you?
Yes, I did. So in Galantry, the War of the Undead is still continuing in Moldavia.
Isn't that something we started to fight?
You had been involved in some of it.
Isn't that something Zal was helping in?
Well, her family's involved in it. But he has found out that there is a necromantic portal network that the undead have been using to come and go from the region. And it might be a way to get into Galantry without the Immortals noticing.
Oh, okay.
Because, well, They can't have eyes everywhere, but they've got their eyes on the borders of the nation and the capital.
Okay.
So if you came out somewhere else, you might bypass their attention.
What would be the
I've
goal?
been doing research in my book then, if that's the case.
What would be the goal with them? Helping put a stop to it, or shutting down the network, or?
Well, you might be able to use the network, but knowing what's going on and why they're doing it is sometimes more valuable than stopping it completely.
Information gathering again.
Because you also don't want to leave a outlet for the Alphatians to take over and bypass armies and get into Galantry.
Okay.
So Redrian's own network can only be used by his operatives, which prohibits one side or the other of using it for war.
And this necromantic portal could be used by anyone.
And they might only be able to be used by undead.
Okay. And the master is.
And the master uses a lot of undead.
Okay.
The Alphatians might find a way to subvert it to be able to send their own forces through.
Yeah.
So knowing exactly how these things work.
Well, considering the Alphatians want to defeat Galantry, they could kill their own warriors and send them through as undead.
They could.
Which would not be good news for anyone. Did you say you'd need to research your book? Sal? Emmy?
Yes, I did.
But you have a book.
I do have
A book and a skull. Two
book
skulls.
and a skull. It's you've found since this war, Zal's not kept this book as private as he had before because
Yep.
at this point it's probably been more helpful
Mm.
than not to have it used as a tool to do stuff like that, to research and
Yeah.
He then mentions out in Irendi and Minrothad there seems to be a contention between the two nations over a missing princess. And it looks like they might end up going to war with each other. One of his other teams has decided to try to put a stop to this war if they can.
Okay.
Because if they manage to wipe each other out, then the Master will have another avenue of approach to Darrakan.
Would that be the people with Calcrix's friend from the sea?
Yep,
Lani?
that would be those. They've also chosen to help the Dwarven King. They think they can do both.
Oh, okay. So they're doing two. What was the Dwarven King's one?
Dwarven King was envoy to the Shadowlands.
Ah, yeah, okay. Yep.
It's believed one of the portals into Baldavia can be found in Galantry. No, sorry, not Galantry, Karamikos. And the forests there.
We've been up to Karamikos recently, haven't we? We could stop by and see if Thalos is okay. Thalius.
I mean, Zal wouldn't say no.
Mm.
Okay, so out in the northern reaches, the investigation into the cults that you brought him has he has a little bit of concern because the 4 cults seem to be able to make weapons of mass destruction called devastation orbs.
So these are the Griffin Riders, the Crushing Wave.
Yeah.
There was the Howling something.
Howling Hatred.
Yep.
The Black Earth.
And yep, okay. Because one was Air, which was the Griffin Riders.
Which also belonged to a cult called the Howling Hatred.
Oh, okay, yep. And then, so their names were a lot worse than they are as people, weren't they?
Mm.
Yeah, because we found out that these guys were actually pretty friendly, because that's how Emmy ended up with her griffins and her entourage and
things like the Crushing Wave were more for sort of religious people from memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing he has a concern with is they are combining the 4 standard elements, each of them with entropy and darkness, which is how they're creating the devastation orbs.
And do we know why they're creating them?
He doesn't. That's partly why he was going to send someone back in to investigate, because he's heard that each of the 4 cults has a temple hidden away somewhere in the northern reaches, which may give you some understanding into what they're doing. So you've only just scratched the surface of what they're capable of.
Which is a bit scary considering they've taken out like a whole. Well, no, not the whole city. They took out the tree. Is that right? They split that big tree in half with that devastation orb. Is that right?
No, it wasn't the
No.
devastation orb that did that. That was someone using an artifact from Tuesday's group, or Wednesday's group. Sorry.
Yeah.
They used the devastation orb to wipe out the entire air fleet of the Alphatian navy.
Oh, that's right. You were talking about that because of Ross's.
Yeah.
Sorry, my brain's a bit.
All good.
The devastation orb, I think, was something that 2 groups dealt with, but not Friday group, I don't think. It was an orb that Calcrix actually carried it for a few seconds and dropped it into Drazzle's portal, and it exploded in a city somewhere else. And they did that to defeat an enemy in that city, but I can't remember the details.
It took out the sky fleet of the Alphatians.
It took out the sky fleet of the Alphatians. Basically, I think we kind of stole it, and and we just whisked it away to this portal in the back of Drazzle's cart. But basically, yeah, it was powerful enough to take out. Was it the entire Alphatian fleet?
It did.
Yep.
Enough that anything that remained wasn't in a condition to go to war.
Yeah. So
If you hadn't taken it out, then by a few months after that point, the Alphatians would have won the war.
Yeah. Is this since we've talked to all of these groups and made friends with like the Griffin Riders and stuff?
But since then, you've made friends with them.
Yeah.
This happened before that.
So this happened before that. So they suspect that maybe not the people we've made friends with, but offshoots of these cultists are still making orbs.
They don't know. They just know that these orbs have been created.
And there was the Crushing Wave, Howling Wind, Black Stone...
Black Earth.
Oh, Black Earth.
Yeah.
And what was the 4th one?
Eternal Flame.
Oh yeah, of course, fire. So Black Earth and Eternal Flame.
So amusingly, they are all almost opposite aspects to what they were. So like a flame that never burns out is different to what a normal flame would do.
Is. And we know the Howling Wind were the Griffin Riders.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the other 3...
Well,
I think Crushing Wave were monks.
The air were the feather.
Yeah, it was but there was the warrior side of their faith.
The earth were the Sacred Stone Monastery.
Yep.
The fire was the Scarlet Moon Hall, with druids who were supporting Chauvel, and the water was Riverguard Keep monks. So, Sandy, I have all that stuff on clickable.
Yeah. When my hands stop torturing me with electronic devices, I'll spend more time on there.
Okay, and he also talks about that there's a hunt for 4 different types of treasures in the Alarum Desert. They're looking for...
Do we really want to go back into the Alarum Desert?
Well, some of you are experienced with it.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it was fun.
So they're looking for something called the Carnelian Idol, which is a small griffin carved in a red gemstone. Ifriti magic lamps, which may grant people wishes. The sparkling spear, a potent weapon of power against fire lords and all types of creatures of fire, including Chauvel.
Oh.
and the Ionian gems, ancient gems from the founding of the Titan Empire that might give you some control over that nation.
Thiatin, did you say?
Yep, Titan Empire.
Is that one of the bad warring people?
It is one of the empires that's gone to war.
But in terms of our side, their side, which side are they on?
Their side.
Which side are we on?
You're on Darakan's side.
You know what I'm asking. Are you going to help me out here?
I think he means they're the bad guys, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know.
They've gone to war against the Alphatian Empire, which wants to wipe out this region.
Okay, so
But they're not technically on your side.
But they're not technically on our side either. So there's three factions fighting.
There are more than 3 factions fighting. There's a lot of factions fighting.
Yeah, there's too many factions fighting for me to follow all the factions fighting. Really, this is why I prefer combat.
So okay, the splash screen next session will show more of the factions on there, so you have some idea of who's fighting who.
I don't think splash screen's going to help me, to be honest. I've got pictures with arrows that still confuse me. Okay, so
that's happening in Yularum, and news out of Theatis is that they've started a military campaign on the Isle of Dawn, fighting the Alphatian army for control of the island. And the Isle of Dawn has more space on it than the entirety of the known world region where you're from. It's a rather big continent in its own right.
okay.
But in the middle of the between the two combatants, they've also discovered a place known as the Tome of the Nine Gods, as in place where gods are buried.
Okay. Like as in a tomb, T-O-M-B?
Yes.
Okay.
Just because I don't pronounce things 100%.
I was just checking because I was thinking it could be a book.
That's what I said, where the gods are buried.
So these are ruins.
Not necessarily ruins.
Yeah, okay.
They might be inhabited.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And the lands surrounding it are full of dinosaurs.
It's not on the Isle of Dread, though.
No, it's the Isle of Dawn, which is makes the Isle of Dread look like it's a dot on the map in comparison.
Oh, well, we'll just collect some Pokeballs and go and have fun. Right, Zal?
Just no. Just no.
Well, next time remember your ring of animal friendship.
I don't need that.
That they did remember the ring, they just didn't use it.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard when you're in the mouth of a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah, but you're supposed to use it before that.
No, but
I don't think she kind of got a choice.
It jumped the party. And then I got chomped, and then I died. And then I got put in a freaking Pokeball with it.
Well, you didn't die, you were just in the dying state while you were in its mouth while it was suspended.
Yeah, that one. if we wanted to be really picky and precise.
Darren's announcing they just checked his litter and he found some bones.
He found bones.
I was making an archaeological joke at Therion's expense.
Digging in his litter, yes.
Because he was meowing.
So, I'm just going to duck to the bathroom if you want to figure out which ones you're most interested
that's
in.
all
I'll
of
give
them?
you some more information on them. Yep.
Okay, so not that means there's not a lot, there's lots.
Just to trigger Zal's PTSD.
I was gonna say you want to trigger Zal's PTSD?
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
To be honest, I'm not sure where you guys are. Did any of those missions sound like something you wanted to pursue particularly?
Well, I don't really want to go in the desert. The sand, it just gets in everywhere.
No, I don't. I'm not. The necromantic portal one sounded interesting.
That sounds more like a reject.
Pardon?
That sounds more like a research project than a
I think a lot of them are based on intelligence gathering, like the concern that the 4 religious cults are possibly making destruction orbs. That's a go and find out what's happening task. The Dragon God of Chaos being resurrected, that's an intelligence gathering task. The Orcs of Thar, intelligence gathering there again. Akasoli might be more action oriented, because I guess you're going down to hell and trying to figure out how to help the people trapped down there out.
That may be where the
Sorry, what was that?
that might be where the all like all my femininity.
That might be where, did you say orb?
The necromantic portal might help.
Yeah. Well, they
No.
were. Redrin was saying that if the portal gets taken over by the Alphatians or the Master, it could be a case of they can get into and just wipe out Glantry. So my thought was that one seems to be a very key, like, strategic thing, that if we can find out if there's a portal there and how it works, maybe we can get control of it and ensure that the Alphatians or the Master doesn't get control of it.
Val will find it, blow it up, no one's problem.
Well,
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
see you could be sticking out like a sore thumb there.
well, the inference is that we can use there's an entry in Karamikos. So we could start our search there, which isn't actually too far from Nemestron, which is where Dalius is.
I mean, my ears perked up to necromantic portal, must be evil, let's destroy it.
Can we clarify with Regin? Is it with a mind to destroy the portal that we're going?
If you need to destroy it, he won't object. But
Okay.
if you can make sure it's not used for, destroying the world, that would also be great.
Is there... knowing Cheval, there's probably no likelihood it won't be destroyed. A feeling that that's going to be her main goal. Does that interrupt Redrian's plans at all?
It does not. It just means that a backdoor into Galantry will disappear.
The reason we need that backdoor into Galantry is that
Because the gods are watching the borders, not the...
Yep.
and the capital. They don't seem to be watching anywhere else at this stage.
Okay, so having a backdoor into Glantry is preferred.
It may assist you if you want to get in there and do some research away from the capital.
Okay. Research about the...
Looking into other things happening in Galantry, or...
Because didn't he suspect a key piece of his ship is in Glantry?
It is, but he doesn't expect there to be any references inside the country. He expects the gods themselves have hidden any references to it.
Does he want us to look for that piece of his ship while we're working around this necromantic portal? Should we be using it to find this bit of his ship, or...?
If you can find it, that would be great, but he doesn't expect you to be able to find it unless you know where to look. And
Fair
finding
enough.
where to look won't be found in the country.
Okay, where would you find that?
He doesn't know, otherwise he would be sending you there.
Okay, fair enough. I would suggest then we don't necessarily want to destroy this portal until we know where the bit of Redrian's ship is, because it's a key part of getting that bit of his ship out, once we know its location. Does Cheval think she could resist destroying it until that point in time?
Maybe.
Well, what do you guys think about the other...
I can only deal with one necromancer, one necromantic thing. That's Zal in the party.
So, what makes the portal necromantic? Maybe you can persuade it not to be necromantic without destroying it.
Well, he refers to it as a necromantic portal because necromancers are using it.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
if you
his
kill off the
portal.
necromancers.
So his portal is a Redrian portal network, which is limited only to people he sponsors himself.
So does this mean if we kill all the necromancers using it, or otherwise disempower them, it will no longer be a necromantic portal?
Depending on what you need to use the portal.
Ah.
If you don't know what you need to use the portal and you can't activate it, then it's not really useful.
Yeah. So we need to find that out first.
There's lots of different ways you can go, he says. So if you really want to put it into the Undead Portal Network, finding out how it works is the best way, because if you just shut one end of it down, you may not actually take out the network.
Yeah. Fair enough.
It's like blocking an exit ramp to a highway doesn't stop the highway. So, is this the one job you guys want to take on? Or do you want to take on multiple jobs?
Well, I was trying to get a feel for what people were interested in.
I'm just struggling.
I was interested in finding out more about the Dragon God of Chaos, but that's my personal thing. The missing persons of import are being taken care of. Does anyone want to talk to a bunch of orcs?
I don't think I can understand a word they say.
What do they speak?
Unless I use tongues.
They speak
No,
many
no,
languages.
last-
Zal might be the only one that has Orcish.
I'm not sure I
Orcish is one of the is probably their core language, but
Yeah, I
don't
was
know
just
many
trying to
other
see what languages I've got, but I
They-
can't.
I do.
find them.
I do. There you go. Orcish.
They may also know Shadow Tongue is one of their languages.
So yeah, to review the options, we can go talk to the orcs. We can go to Akasoli and try and help them down in hell. We can investigate the Chroma Conclave and their Dragon God of Chaos. We could investigate the Necromantic Portal thing. The Erendi Princess and the Dwarven King Envoy are being done by, I'm guessing, the Tuesday group.
Yep.
Then the next one is investigate the 4 religious cults we've already investigated, but investigate them again to see whether or not they're making devastation orbs. We can go to the desert and look for treasure. Or we can get ourselves involved in finding out more about Thyatus attacking the Isle of Dawn and visit some dinosaurs. Or we can visit the Tomb of the 9 Gods and visit more dinosaurs. Does that sum it up fairly accurately?
Close enough.
Okay. Does anyone want to go talk to orcs?
I mean, we might know the Orcish, but that doesn't sound exciting.
Okay. Does anyone want to go to hell? Literally.
I mean, that sounds cool.
That does sound cool, actually.
Okay, so I'm going to put a couple of ticks there. Does anyone want to investigate the necromantic portal?
Zal definitely does.
Okay.
Val wants to turn it off.
Okay.
Yeah, to turn it off, you just need to kill all the necromancers.
I'm
Yeah.
presuming no one but Thal is
It's not really
interested
relevant.
in dragons. Okay, there's those two. Does anyone wanna, as any of the other things I mentioned, invoke any kind of interest from anyone else?
Well, the thing is, I wouldn't mind doing the orcs because I do have a very good persuasion in that.
Okay, so
Yes, but you're not guaranteed that the orcs will treat with you.
yeah.
That's the problem.
Because none of you are part of the outcasts. And as such, you are a threat to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in other words, we basically would have to befriend the outcasts first before going to the orcs.
And as they have...
Technically an outcast.
well, technically, none of you are the outcast races that that society has thrown away. And as outcast races, they don't look kindly upon those that are accepted walking into civilized cities, as none of them are.
So let's say no to the orcs. Okay.
And so that's not the orcs that we dealt with before, are they?
They are not. Those ones went north.
Oh, okay. I thought that was the orcs.
It is not. Those ones disappeared into the Norworld region, and you didn't hear where they went to.
Hmm.
None of you have been to Norworld.
We don't want to go to the desert for now. We don't want to go to Island of Dinosaurs. Is that right?
I don't mind that, but I don't want to go to the gods one.
That is the Island of Dinosaurs. The
I
dead
thought there was
gods.
two parts of that.
Nightmares
Yeah,
about
there was two. We had 2 parts about that.
Was that 2 parts or 1 part?
Technically, it was 1 part. You heard about the war going on, and that they founded a tomb in
Okay,
there.
so technically that's
Oh.
1 thing, and I mistakenly put it down as 2.
Because if you really want to go into the front lines of the war between the greatest military empire and the greatest magical empire in the world, they would quite happily draft you into the war for the rest
Yeah,
of their
no.
career.
So it's just the tomb that was that mission. So we don't want to go see dinosaurs, and we don't want to go to the desert. So I think the undead portal could possibly link up to hell.
Yeah, I just don't like seeing like the idea of a paladin running around in hell.
Our paladin running around in hell.
Any paladin, unless you're an infernal paladin.
A lot of-
That's going to really be like a sore thumb.
It is going to stand out, yes.
So maybe not the hell one then. Maybe we are going to do the necromantic portal. Unless you want to go to revisit the 4 religious cults. I have a sense that people want a bit of a change though, from what you were saying.
The necromancers are a lie. It's just portal.
Alright, I think it's going to be the portal?
Portal.
I think it's going to be the portal. I gather none of these, like you're asking, is that all we want to do? I guess none of these are doable, like...
They can be doable later.
Um,
It's just that if you then say, I really want to do these 2 or 3, then if someone else decides they want to do them, they'll be told that someone's already got
Okay.
looking into it.
Alright, I see.
Just like you were told that other groups are looking into some ones, they will be told you're looking into these
I see.
things.
So it's not a case of, from the GM's perspective, you can see that the first and the last of these are actually quite close together, and it's actually feasible to do them both.
Well, the advantage of the portal is it's basically going to be in one area, and that you got one objective. The
Yeah.
Colts one, you've got 4 different places that you need to travel around with.
Well, it depends. If they're all coming together to make these orbs of mass destruction, then they might all be in the one place creating these orbs.
And you've
We
also...
could also do them because we are quite familiar with them too.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we can also get the holy hand grenades.
Yeah, they'd be like holy hand grenades, but holy nuclear hand grenades.
Ah, holy nuclear warheads.
Yeah, pretty much.
That randomly go off.
Yeah. Yeah, which is why Calcrick's holding it for the 5 or 10 seconds she held it for was actually really dangerous.
Okay, so if we stuff them in a Pokeball,
They will still, if you put them in an extra-dimensional space of any kind, they will explode the moment you try to, destroying whatever you're putting it in, as well as going off in the region around you.
Yeah. So
Oh,
yeah.
I think it's that idea.
For over a mile in diameter.
Yeah.
So radius, actually. Mile in radius.
That's why when it was chucked into the portal, it destroyed
Both sides of the portal.
both sides of the portal. But because Drazzle can do timey-wimey stuff, he still has his portal. Alright, looks like we're going to Karamikos?
Looks like you'll be going to Karamikos. Luckily, Regine does have outposts there that can save you some of the time.
Would this be a good time to ask him about how things are going in Nemiston?
You can. He does say that currently that they are a bit worried at the number of dwarves going to the east. Because it seems that all the dwarves of Darakan are leaving. He hasn't heard why.
All the dwarves of Darakan are leaving.
Yeah.
Okay. Could be related to that castle turning up outside Darakan.
Could quite possibly. Well, it might also be the dwarves are closing up shop because they tend to do that when they feel their nation's at risk. Unfortunately, he hasn't heard back from his representatives yet as to what they learned while speaking to the king. Just that they've gone off to speak to him. Luckily, he's got a couple of diplomats who have credentials enough to see the king. Which was amusing. It wasn't the dwarf who had the credentials.
Yeah.
The dwarf got rebuffed because he didn't have a title. And he was still a child as far as the guards were concerned.
Wow. I feel sorry for the dwarf.
Well, until he got to the age of 50 in dwarven years, he was still an adolescent.
It's kind of like an elvish thing, right?
Very much so. The dwarves kick out all their adolescents from the ages of 30 to 50 to go about the world and experience life. And harass all the other races. So they don't have to deal with adolescents. It's quite an amusing way of dealing with it.
Well, that is both amusing and interesting to learn.
Yeah.
Because I think when we were in Nemiston last time... No, we went to Selenica from Nemiston. We found out the dwarves haven't been trading as much, so that might be a part of that. Maybe because of this war, they're going to... They're retreating.
Well, they don't have a war pact with anyone except for the Ethengarians. And that's only if the Ethengarians attack Galantry will the dwarves help.
Okay. So maybe that's why they're disappearing and why there's a shortage. But the town's still okay, despite all the war?
The town's still okay. They are reporting a thriving business in anything the dwarves can purchase on their way through.
Alright, yep.
So they seem to be buying up all luxuries in bulk.
I was mainly asking because of we gave Azal got you to do that recommendation for her friend Valius the scribe. We're just wondering if he's still there or if he made it to Selenica for his diplomatic training.
Well, he has been accepted. He just hasn't arrived yet.
Okay, alright.
Expecting him to arrive sometime in the next few weeks.
Okay.
Their classes normally run through summer.
Okay, I see. It's a good time for it. Turns out war is not so good for the master in summers. So, in terms of looking at on the map at where we're going, we're in Darakan, and we could take a portal from Knight's Rivet straight out into Karamikos.
You're in Darakan City.
Yep.
And you can come out in Kelvin or Speculum. They recommend Kelvin because they think the portal's somewhere in the forest near it.
Yeah.
Which is called Radler Woods.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, where's Nemiston in all of that?
Nemiston is
Nowhere near
about
anything?
there.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't think we can detour. I think it's a bit far.
You can take the portal to Selenica, go and spend a day travelling to Nemiston and talking to them, and day back, and then travelling to Karamikos if you wish to. That's not too much out of the way.
Do you want to see your boyfriend?
Sounds good.
You'd like to?
We'll stay on. I might go lay down because I'm really not feeling great.
You go lay down and rest.
Okay. Well, we can always do that later. So it sounds like with Zal down, we might go straight to Kelvin.
We might go straight to the city of Kelvin, which outlaws everything but clerical magic as a legal magic.
So you mean our cleric's going to lie down just when our cleric is the only person who can actually help us?
I'll use magic in the city.
Well, before we go on this adventure, can we perhaps maybe do some shopping or something?
You can, but I would prefer to do you pick up items later.
Okay.
And I can do that later.
Okay.
Because I haven't had time to repair all that stuff this time.
Okay, fair enough.
It's been hard enough just getting the updates up there.
Well, I guess maybe we take... What do you guys... Do you want to just go straight to Kelvin right now? See what we can find out without the cleric?
Sure.
Just,
I mean,
well, the paladin should be able to cast spells because he's divined as well.
Apparently Martin just said all magic aside from clerical magic is outlawed.
The paladin would also work with that.
The paladin can also work
it's
with
also
that?
clerical magic.
Okay, alright. Well, I'm just a druid.
Josh can also play the character if he wants to.
You don't want Josh playing your character, trust me.
Probably not.
If you don't want to live up to Failed Ranger, you don't want Josh playing your character.
Alright.
Change from failed ranger to failed cleric.
Yeah. You'll start adding failed titles to your name.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then he's going to teach them all to Mia.
He still hasn't got failed ranger yet, so we'll see.
Failed ranger.
Excuse me.
Right, I'm gonna go.
Hopefully you feel better soon.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm just annoyed because I've only just gotten better.
Yeah.
A week of being better, and I'm sick again.
Unfortunately, with a lot of these sort of things, you will find yourself going up and down with flus until your body gets strong again. And especially once you just recovered, your body's going, that's done, now I can rest, and then something else comes in.
Yeah, Josh from work. And Mia from Vegas. Yay.
Okay, so...
What do you want, Ken?
Just looking up the details of where you're going.
Yep.
So you end up with a quick trip to Kelvin. We can do shopping in retrospect later to say what you've picked up. And you find yourself reaching Kelvin on the 17th day of the month.
I'm just going to go to the bathroom. Try to be quick.
And it's nice to be in a city that's not prepped for war.
Not yet.
Calvin's far enough away that they do not share any borders with a place at war, as far as you know. But from a halfling perspective, you don't see any halflings here anywhere, and you thought it was a city full of halflings.
Okay. So where they run off to?
You did hear that a lot of halflings had joined the pirates on the lake coming from other nations.
Yeah. But there would have to be a lot of ships then.
Well, the thing is, they can actually convert other ships, and they could have been doing so. They also have
Yeah.
a lot of river barges and stuff, so they could have ferried an awful lot of troops across land and material and vehicles along the coast.
Yeah.
But it appears as a majority of the clans from Karamikos headed north into Selenica and then across to Darakan itself to join the war effort. Well, as far as they're concerned, the Master coming into Darakan meant the Five Shires was at risk of falling again.
Yeah.
And as it's their homeland, they didn't want to see that happen.
Not again.
Yeah, true. Their version of things is not again. It's already fallen to 3 hostile forces.
Yeah.
First being orcs, second being humans, and third being dwarves. Okay. So in Calvin, how do you want to go about looking for this necromantic place in the forests of Radleb Woods?
Honestly, I have no idea. Can't really go up to a cleric and go, "Hey, have you heard anything about necromancy?"
Well, you could always just go up to the Duke and ask him. He is the patriarch of the city, after all, as a cleric. And going to the top always gets you information, I'm sure.
Uh,
So is that what Yodri and Chauvel wish to do?
I think our paladin's a little bit busy at the moment.
Quite possibly. Okay, so
So, gods do they worship you?
they worship a religion known as the Church of Karamikos.
Oh, this is the one with their own own god, isn't it?
They worship multiple gods, you're not sure which.
Yeah.
But their belief is in the group of gods, not a specific god.
Mm.
Which does limit a single god telling him to do something.
He's a paladin of justice.
Who's this?
I'm not sure which one is the Paladin of Justice. You're calling Chauvel a Paladin of Justice?
Well, actually, I should say most paladins of justice of their own point of view.
I'm sure they are.
Sorry, what's the discussion?
About how are you going to find out about where to go and look for the undead.
Alright, so we've gone through the portal?
Gone through the portal to the city of Calvin.
Yep.
Found out that all the halflings who are in the city have headed to the war in Darakan.
Okay. Is there anybody in the city?
Oh, there's lots of humans, just that all the halflings have gone, which Yodri noticed immediately because that's what Yodri was looking for.
Yeah, of course. He's a halfling. Is there a town hall?
There is a town hall. There's also a castle, which is also the city cathedral.
Have we decided as a group where we're heading first yet?
You have not. I was just trying to find out from them, which is where we were jumping around with Paladin,
Okay.
who was currently unavailable.
Okay. How about we head to the town hall? We can find out stuff there.
Well, that's where the cry will probably be as well.
Yep.
So you want me to add a weeping angel?
No. We don't need any crying angels of any sort. Especially not stone ones. If you're happy
It's
with
alright,
that.
we've got a time-travelling lizard.
Yes, but that doesn't mean we want to deal with weeping angels. I'm pretty sure. I know I can summon them, but that costs 1,000 gold jewel. And I don't want to spend that just to watch some poor angel cry. If you're okay with it, why don't we head to the town hall?
Okay, so making your way through the town, you find yourself at the town hall itself. Also looking at what's sort of happening in the dates. So, is that important?
I don't know.
It's Sue saying she can't make it.
Yeah. Okay, so you managed to make it to the town hall without any real problems.
Yep.
You do currently have you've just passed the last of the green moons of the year, meaning that the sphere of matter is fading as another sphere of power will rise up.
Sphere of matter being an earth.
Being the earth one, and the next
Yep.
one being a fire one.
Okay. Summer, fire, makes sense. Alrighty.
So that they attach to the seasons.
Yep.
And that's why each of the 4 seasonal moons are coloured of that season.
Yep.
Although they are opposite in the southern hemisphere.
Fair enough. That's the same here.
So yes, you arrive at the town hall. They have notice boards up there with missing people, missing pets.
There are a lot of missing people?
There's a couple of them, mostly halflings, because the halflings didn't tell anyone they were leaving.
Okay. And what about pets? Is there an enormous amount of those missing? Or?
There's a bunch of pets missing. Maybe the halflings took them.
But nothing that looks like they might be disappearing into a portal.
Nothing that says immediately world in strife.
Something going on here. Okay.
Just that not all the humans are clued into what's happening in the world.
Okay. When you said that all the halflings are gone, is this a township that is more of halfling founded than human founded?
Probably have about a third of the populace was halfling.
Okay.
And the halflings of this nation are all river folk.
Okay. Well,
So if I bring up the local map, where am I? Here we are. Go. And I'll make it I was expecting to have the map. Here we are. And I'll make that big on the other page. That's not what I intended. That's better. And there we are. So big river network here, and you're in the barony of Calvin, with the Baron being the head priest of the church of Karamikos in the town.
okay.
City, actually.
Yeah.
This city is almost bigger than the capital of the nation.
Okay. Is there a central desk, I guess?
There is. You have no problem getting into the town hall itself. They do welcome visitors. A few of them look oddly at Yodri walking in.
Well, probably because he's the only halfling in town.
Probably the only halfling they've seen for months.
We'll go up to the front desk.
Hey, welcome.
Are any of them wincing when they look at Cheval?
But most of them are sort of looking unadoringly at this resplendent paladin stepping into the room.
Oh, there you go. Does Yodri, with all of his charm, want to see if he can find out where the portal is being seen in the forest?
Yeah.
Okay, so Yodri makes his way forward to the front desk. They say, "So, Mr. What is your name again, sir?"
Yodri.
Yodri. Mr. Yodri, are you a paid-up member of the Halfling community here?
Not part of this community here. I have been advised that you are experiencing some undead issues. We're here to solve that.
We haven't actually been experiencing any undead issues here. This is a place of virtue, and our Baron Calvin has made sure that the dead do not walk the streets.
We're not talking about the streets. We've heard that nearby there is some foul necromancy happening.
Not that I know of, he says, looking at you as if you've got two heads on this sort of look.
Have you had any unusual going-ons in the forest?
We always have unusual goings on in the forest. We've got a contingent of goblins who claim that the Dimmerak forest is theirs and theirs alone.
Okay.
We have the elves of Redlip Wood who basically recommend everyone else avoid that place because, well, they're elves and they like their privacy. Then we have a new lordship who's taken up a building in the Redlip Woods, who's not an elf. It's causing a bit of political turmoil at the moment because here's this human claiming elven lands as his own.
Right. There are a lot of woods here.
There are lots of woods here.
There's like forests everywhere. Okay.
So, not from him. You heard from Redrian that the issue was in the Redlib Woods.
Okay. All right.
There's good chance that some of the government officials, or most of them, might not have heard of what was going
Oh
on.
man, because of the elves. I whisper down to Yodri, I don't think they're going to be very helpful here. Maybe we should head over to the woods.
The human that's pissing off the elves, is he actually a noble of this land, or he's just
Yes,
noble?
he is, surprisingly enough, a Chaldaran noble, so not one of the Thiadan bloodlines, he says with a wistful smile, showing up those of wishing to say that the Chaldaran people are barbaric and beyond any form of grace, that they can actually gain favour with the Duke and become lords of the land.
Sorry, that was said in such a roundabout way, I can't figure out, is being a Troldaran bloodline good or bad?
Well, most of the Thiatan nobility of this land believe believe that the Troldarans are barbaric and useless.
I see, okay.
And because that they form about maybe 10% of the population, they also form about 99% of the nobility.
I see. So the Thiatans are the ones with the most power here?
They are the ones with most of the power because the Duke subjugated the kingdom 40 years ago.
Right.
And turned it into the dukedom and turned it into a duchy.
Okay.
Up until then, the Thiatans were tribes with no communication between their townships.
So the Troldaran in the woods is actual nobility, but not ones the Thiatans care to...
Well, he has been recognised by the Thiatan Duke of the nation.
Oh, he has.
He has. Right. And that's why the person telling you is quite proud, because he's also of Troldaran descent.
I see.
And basically trying to portray the Thiatans in a bad light without actually saying so.
Okay, I see. Alright,
Because
so basically it's a peasant who's been risen up to nobility.
Yes, through deed and skill.
Depending on your point of view, yes.
And not just born to it.
Yeah. Okay.
And out of game, he's referring to Jeremy's character in Wednesday Night.
I see. Okay. I know nothing about the Wednesday night game, so that doesn't give me a lot of.
Dimitri.
Yeah, that's all I know about Jeremy's Wednesday night character. Is his name's Dimitri, and apparently him and Mark's characters have very interesting experiences together. They sound amusing anyway. Alright, so we've been told by Regin that we want to head towards the Radleb Woods anyway.
Because if you want to find out about the Radleb Woods, he recommends going to the town of Refillion and asking the elves there, because if anyone knows what's happening in the woods, they do.
That was going to be my suggestion. Shall we head over to... How do you get over the river?
So there is a bridge.
Yep.
You can take a bridge there. And he does warn against going to Kozeki Keep, because it is awash with undead in that region.
Okay. That might be more closer to where our portal is, though. Why don't we head... How far is it walking?
He said they didn't have any undead issues.
They don't have any undead issues in the city of Kelvin.
Yeah, he's talking about... So, that keep, if you look at the map at all, it's closer to the R of Radleb Woods, whereas the barony of Kelvin is way past...
Yeah, fair enough.
Yep. So as far as he's concerned... No, there's nothing happening in their area.
It's on the other side of the woods from what he sees.
I suspect our portal is going to be somewhere near that keep, but we probably should stop by that little elvish town that he just mentioned. Was it called?
Refillion.
Refillion. Is it a town? Or?
It is a town.
It's a little town full of elves. Because I think we're going to need to get the leave of the elves to travel through the woods safely anyway. So if we stop by there and get their permission, then we can zero in. They might even be able to tell us a more exact sort of area to look for this portal. Is it a long walk? Would it take us long to walk there?
Well,
or
you could get there in about a day.
fly on, presuming the griffins we still have?
On the griffins, you get there in about half a day.
Okay. Let's presume Sal's happy for us to ride griffins, since she has been in the past?
She has been in the past, even though you've lost one.
Yeah, that still gives us...
Though you won't be able to take all your people with you.
Okay.
So do you leave your people in the city?
All our
your followers?
entourage?
Yes.
Did we take all of our entourage to begin with?
You would have taken all your entourage to begin with, otherwise you'd have no griffins.
Okay.
So either you've taken your entourage or you have no griffins.
Well, we could have just taken the griffins and not
But
the rest.
that's part of M's entourage.
That being the case, do you guys want to walk or do you want to fly?
We all know Chauvel's thoughts on flying.
Chauvel likes to fly?
No.
No? So Chauvel would rather spend an extra half a day and walk?
Maybe. I mean, we don't have a time frame on this, so sure, keep me out of the air.
Okay. Fair enough.
So you've got your fiery horse you can ride.
Yeah. Okay, we'll spend the day. Zal might fly over ahead of us, depending on what happens. She might have to catch up to us. We'll figure that out closer to when we've got an Emmy playing. But yeah, we'll walk over or ride over. Ground travel for the moment.
Okay, so you head out and find yourself reaching Refillion by the end of the day. with most of the places shut up, you're able to find an inn to settle in. Someone trying to get us again. No. Okay, so yes, you travel to Refillion and find yourself resting up for the day in an inn. It's a nice elvish inn.
Which only Thala probably appreciates.
Well, it means the doorways are high. Everything is spacious.
How tall is Cheval?
Chevelle, I think, is 6'6".
Okay, so you'd appreciate the high things as well.
Yeah.
Considering most of the tents of the Ethengarians, are 5 foot, Chevelle feels like a giant amongst her people.
Yeah.
This area doesn't have any problems with non-clerical magic.
I'll be right back, Martin.
Okay. Well, the only place that you know of in Glantry that has a lot of issues with non-clerical magic is Calvin.
Oh.
Partly because it's run by a priest.
Which explains why he's got a problem with.
So, Refillion is known as the Druid Center of Karamikos. It's probably the greenest city around this region.
God, I keep forgetting the name of the city that we just went to. Refillion?
Refillion, yes. I can't really pronounce it the way it's spelled.
How's it spelled? R-I?
Riflian.
Riflian Woods. Riflian. Okay, so is there a town hall there?
Well, after you spend the night in the inn
Okay, yep.
and rest up,
Yep.
next morning you're greeted by the town mayor,
Okay.
who's heard that you've arrived and he's checking to see what such a distinguished elf has come to his town.
I'll explain to him our mission, but like not in full details. We've heard that there's an undead war going on in Glantry, that there might be some problems with undead accessing portals through their woods here, possibly near, I can't remember how to say it, Keep?
Korezki Keep.
Korezki Keep. And we are just investigating that. And would he happen to know anything about...
Well, that'll explain why there's so little undead happenings in the region. Because they seem to have... He thought they'd gone into hibernation or something. Because normally there's a massive murders along the Duke's Road each time at the start of the year.
Yeah.
And, start of spring, he says.
Yeah.
As you near the end of spring. Hasn't really had any major murders this year.
Well, has he heard about the Master and the goings-on with that war?
He has heard that there's some trouble up there, but most of his warriors headed out to the Sylvan Realm to help with a war on the other side of the continent.
That's fair enough. I merely ask if he has knowledge of it, in the sense that it seems that at the moment the Master seems to have been held at bay, for lack of a better word, and this would be a good time to try and get on top of problems like this. has he heard of this keep and its problems, and
Well,
have any of his...
The keep is older than any of the settlements in the land here.
Yeah.
It's one of the oldest structures around.
And has his people noticed anything unusual in the area that might indicate a portal?
He believes a vampire lord lives there.
Okay, right.
He doesn't recommend going there because, hey, a vampire lord that's lived for centuries, maybe more, is not something to take lightly. Unless, of course, you've got sunlight with you, which does help.
No, but I might be reviewing my spells before we go in there and making sure that I've at least got the sunlight spell.
So be warned that the lord of that tower has been rumoured to travel in sunlight. So unlike most of his type, he doesn't seem to be as affected by as others.
Does that mean he could be either just more powerful vampire or possibly something greater?
He claims to be the first vampire.
Oh, well, that doesn't sound good either.
There are many who claim to be the first vampire, but not all of them have a history as long as his.
Does Yodri...
It's also rumoured that he's an ancestor of one of the gods.
Well, can we just go home now?
So he says that the god Halab, a native of these lands, is rumoured to be one of his descendants.
Okay. All of this sounds like we should just go home now. But I take it...
He may also not be in these lands at this time.
Do you guys have questions you want to ask for more info about that?
So basically you're saying that undead is not happening that much at the moment.
Well, it's undead has been less problematic in the last 4 to 5 years than they have normally been.
Okay.
But
So when you're told about undead in the possibly from this region, it wasn't saying that there was lots of trouble with undead. They think that there's an undead. The portal network comes here.
yeah, and that's what I'm asking. Is there anything unusual in the woods that might indicate that there might be a portal around here?
Well, from what he was saying is from his perspective, the unusual thing is there has been a drop in the number of undead coming out of that region.
Right.
Which, if there's a portal, it means that they've probably gone somewhere else, and that would explain why there's been a drop in their number.
Yeah, I did get that, but I'm trying to figure out of all of those woods there, where we start.
You would probably start with the keep, but...
At which point he's just told us it's such a powerful vampire that he's probably the first vampire, and he's possibly descended from a god.
No, the other way around, the god's descended of him.
Oh, well... I don't think either one is going to be fun to play with. But that also means that we're left directly approaching the keep. I was hoping that we wouldn't have to necessarily directly have to approach the keep and the people in it, that maybe we could possibly find the portal and investigate on our own before we had to interact with anyone.
So there's possibly a portal in the Chaldaran Lord's domain that he set up in the Red Lib Woods, though he's unsure where those portals lead.
And do we know where the Chaldaran Lord is?
Well, he's from the Wednesday group. He's headed to Alfheim at the moment.
Yeah, I just thought maybe because they've got that keep listed on there, that they've got his thing listed on there, and maybe I can't see it.
Let me see if I can get where is my...
Because I can see some tiny words somewhere above that.
I believe he's somewhere in there.
Okay, so it's not actually a listed area, it's just a...
Do I actually have... Just seeing if I've actually created a clickable spot. There, it's on that spot. So it's actually in that area
Okay.
there, not that far from it.
Yep. Well, that gives us somewhere to start. He's not there, but is there someone home when he's not there?
He says there should be someone there.
Okay, so it gives us somewhere to start without directly confronting a vampire. How long would it take to travel through to there? Are there any paths in the forest that, is there
The elves don't need paths, so we've not built any.
Okay.
Sort of discourage the humans building through our forest as well, because they tend to cut trees down.
That's fair enough. So would someone like myself be able to find their way there and lead?
You should be able to do it
My
fairly
companions?
quickly. Not so sure about how nimble the rest of your companions are, especially the flaming paladin.
Yeah, you don't set woods on fire, do you, Cheval?
I think he needs to use his asbestos cloak.
Yeah, well, hopefully he has one. Doesn't
Well,
his
this-
horse have asbestos shoes?
Yeah, also asbestos shoes.
What about you?
Nope. Loud and proud, baby.
Oh, I don't necessarily object to that, but yeah, you're an hour early.
I just didn't want to forget.
Alright, well, maybe we should gear up for travelling through the woods and head towards this Troldaran Lord's keep and see how we go.
Though it might be faster to come in from the south, as there's believed to be some sort of trail coming in from Redlead Keep into the Lord's domain.
Okay, so do you mean travel down the roads and then come in from the keep? Or...
Yep. Coming from the keep. It says that it's safer on the roads than through the forest because there's still a lot of were creatures floating around.
I don't
who
know. I
don't take others kindly.
I think the paladin wouldn't mind obliterating a few were creatures, but
Yeah, but I can see the paladins setting the forest on fire.
yeah,
Nah.
And plus, most of the were creatures are cursed people. Do you really want to just kill someone for being cursed?
no, I was not suggesting that we do that regardless. I was suggesting that even though the paladin might not mind, the rest of us would probably rather the easier trip. So does that mean we'll be going from Relian to... I can't read that one that starts with KR.
Krakatos.
Krakatos.
Well, you'd most likely bypass Krakatos and go straight to Specularum. Because Krakatos it's the red
there
one.
it is. Yep, okay.
The black one is a ruin.
Yep. Okay, so I guess we'll start travelling that way. And I'm guessing overground still
So it'll
at
be
this
12.
stage.
So it'll be 7 days to Redlead Keep.
And that's quicker than going through the forest.
Safer than going through the forest with the numbers you've got.
Okay. Well, I guess that's what we'll do.
Wait, you're saying that paladins not the office wizard? Oh, wait, that's wrong.
Sorry, what's this?
he's
Martin's saying that with the numbers that we have, we probably couldn't take all those in the forest. And it's like, you're saying that Shrivel's not the office wizard, Newton? Oh, wait.
Wrong character.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah, it's not
Stupid
Pathfinder.
amount of plot armor parry here.
But I don't think that would help everybody else travelling with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you reach Redlead Keep on the 25th of the month.
Wait.
And are welcomed there by the guardsmen. As this is a place where you can rest and resupply in the area if you need to.
Yeah.
It's their major fortification for the Western Road.
Which is good news for us, because I dare say we'll probably need to resupply by now.
Well, there would be small inns along the way, a day's travel to be able to stop at.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have quite easily have done that. It's just saying that instead of taking all your retinue through with you, you can leave most of them here, so they're not that far away.
Yeah.
And you can come back and get them as needed. Meaning you could then travel a day into the woods and reach.
I miss the days where we didn't have a retinue. I thought I left all of my people back on my little piece of land, tending my schools and things.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
The idea was you had people who were important that came with you, and you had some back at the...
Okay.
Okay, so yes, you travel from Red Lake Keep and find yourself at the ruins of Quosqueton, which is the place underneath where Lord Dimitri built his keep.
Is this the Troldaran Lord?
Yes.
Okay, alright. Sorry. I thought we'd only just arrived at the other keep, so... yeah.
And I said it was a day into the forest to get
Yep.
to that place.
Yep. So we're at the new keep.
Yes.
Yep.
And you were greeted by the sensual of the keep. Says, how may he help you?
We heard about the good Troldaran Lord having set up here. And since we were in the area, we thought we'd say hi. We wanted to, having heard about how few Troldaran lords are able to gain land and keep in a very Theatan heavy nobility, considering that I am a tree speaker and tend the tree, I wanted to meet such a lord so that I could bring his story back to my tree one day. Unfortunately, I hear that he may not be present at this time.
He is currently journeying to a place in the Forest of the Elves to the north called Alfheim.
I see.
I'm sure he will be accessible once he returns.
Do you know when he's returning?
He travels a lot, hard to tell. Much like you, who seem to be travelling a lot.
Yes. This is one of the best ways to gather stories for a tree as honoured as mine.
He welcomes you to come and stay and spread your tales if you wish.
We would also welcome that, for even without the Lord, there are people here with tales and stories that would be just as valued by my tree as one of any Lord. I gather everyone else is happy with this situation?
Yeah.
Well, guess that's a yes. As he welcomes you all in.
Mm-hmm.
Do any of you desire any food or drinks?
I would be happy to join people if they're having a repast, but I don't need one created just for my sake. Like, if it's lunchtime and you have a lunch, yes. If it's mid-morning and you're not anywhere near lunchtime, I can wait.
He generally prepares food for guests as part of his services.
If it is of no trouble, then yes, we'd be grateful for the refreshment after our long ride. I gather since it's taken us a day to get there, it's near evening?
It is near evening.
Yeah.
That would be most appreciated.
Okay, so he brings a plate of breads, cheeses, and a nice red wine.
When we enter and have a look around, is there anything particularly notable about the place? What's it like?
It does have a roaring fireplace, a comfortable looking chairs, and a stairwell going up into upper levels.
So it's just kind of more just a simple keep. It doesn't seem to have walls, fortifications.
Well, there was you did see an entrance to what appears to be some sort of dungeon below.
Right.
It's you think dungeon by the big opening and the designs on the outside of it.
Yeah.
That basically most people are aware of going into dungeons.
Is it open, closed with a portcullis?
Currently, that's closed with a portcullis,
Right.
which is why you came to the tower.
Yeah, no, that's okay. But we didn't notice anything unusual or strange.
Except that it's a tower built on top of a dungeon.
Okay. All right.
You can probably see some fields nearby that look like they're starting to be cultivated.
Okay. So it looks like he's setting up, but there's still a way to go.
The tower is impressive considering most of your own domains haven't had a lot built on it yet.
And the fellow that's talking to us, is there anything unusual about him? What kind of a person is he?
He's got long beard, flowing robes, looks very wizardy.
He wouldn't be pretending to be not himself and actually be the Lord?
Unlikely,
Okay.
but it would seem strange to say that the Lord's somewhere else.
This is one of those strange kind of worlds where you can meet all sorts of things. You've got a master lifting a whole planar tree and dropping it onto a city and ramming it into hell. I don't know. I think a little bit of speculation on Thal's behalf is probably not unwarranted.
It's not unwarranted.
Alright, so we'll sit down for food and ask him how he came to be serving the Lord of this keep.
Well, he said many years ago he helped form a nation out of a lot of tribes, and then got caught up in some magical backlash and spent probably a couple of centuries as a statue, which he didn't particularly notice time passing.
Okay, is this guy?
Yeah, this guy.
Okay,
So
wow.
recently he was returned to flesh, and as a thank you to the guy who did so, he's offered to serve him as his central for time.
That's pretty amazing. Do you remember which tribes it were that you brought together?
The Traldar, he says.
Oh, okay.
So-
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
That were the ancestors of the Traldarans.
What kind of people were the Troldarans?
Well, the Traldar for him.
Or the Troldar?
They were interested in stopping a invasion of gnolls.
Yeah, I could understand that.
And he was helping the king Halav to unite the people.
And is Halav the guy who became a god?
Yes,
I see.
he didn't know that though,
No. Okay.
because he got turned to stone before that happened.
I see. Yeah. Oh. It's not so much fun missing out on all the fun.
But he was happy to lend his hand with his friend Rogar. Fortunately, Rogar disappeared while he had been
Why
turned to
does
stone.
Rogar ring a bell?
Because it's their name used in a lot of D&D stuff,
Okay.
and came from this module.
Okay, alright. And is Rogar anyone of significance to... What's this fellow's name?
Seligar.
Saligar.
It says, yes, he was his friend who built this complex with him back when the gnolls were invading the lands. This was to be a fallback place in case things went badly.
Well, that sounds like a good place. Was it you who recommended that the now Lord set up here?
Well, he'd already set up here by the time you revived him.
I see. How did he revive you?
Well, I didn't quite see it, but I believe he used a staff or a potion.
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Because he did have his. He said he had my staff at the time.
Yep.
Because Zalagor is a wizard of earth.
And how have you found setting up here? Have you had any trouble?
Well, it's interesting seeing what the centuries of neglect have done to what used to be his lands. As none of his people remain, he has no desire to claim lordship over the region.
Fair enough.
Well, when everyone you know has died, there's not a lot of fun in staying around.
What about developing new friendships?
That's what he's doing from here.
Okay. Does Yodri or Cheval have any questions?
Have you had any issues with the forest?
Well, it says strangely enough, the forest has been rather quiet of late. It feels like a lull before the storm. Though he is a little worried about what the Black Eagle Barony to the southwest might get up to, because his research into that region say he shouldn't be left in charge.
Who shouldn't be?
The Baron of the Black Eagle Barony. An oppressive land.
Isn't that the Baron that slaves the halflings and that?
That is correct. That's partly why he says he doesn't believe they should be left around.
No, I'm pretty sure Yodri feels the same way.
But anyone who was to take up arms against the Black Eagle Barony may end up becoming, finding themselves against the nation of Karamikos, because he is the Duke's cousin and the Duke may be forced to assist his cousin.
Yeah, most of his land seems to be water, but there is quite a bit of forest and woodry right next to Radleb Woods and
It would be basically be where Radleb Woods and the River Fork Woods connect.
Well, from what I can see of that red mark, that's the border.
Yeah, and the coastline is the border of his
Yeah.
domain as well.
Oh, okay. So the water isn't his.
No,
So it's fairly small barony.
it's about the same size as the Barony of Kelvin.
Okay, so the barony of Kelvin's only that little bits of green on the river edge.
Pretty much.
The black lines, I guess, end it.
The river between got the High Reach River that goes up beside the city.
Yeah.
Is the other border.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit hard to tell where those red lines and those black lines end those territories. But that's okay. So the Radleb Woods aren't technically a part of the Barony of Kelvin.
They are not.
Well, that makes sense. So is that Radleb Woods, which is quite a large area, is that all Elvish?
The elves claim it, not that they populate it fully.
Okay, alright. But generally it's not really claimed by anyone else.
You'll find...
I totally didn't accidentally hit the disconnect button rather than the mute the mic button.
I did see Josh drop on and drop off.
Okay.
Oops.
Or drop off and on. Yes. So, yes, it says no one else officially claims it but the elves, which is where having the human claiming one part of it is unusual. But the elves have not taken arms up against him for doing so.
Yeah, they haven't done anything about it They've just allowed it to happen.
Well, considering how close he is to Koriski Keep, I'm sure they believe that the undead will deal with his domain in no time.
Have you had any trouble from Koreski Keep?
We have not. We've been expecting trouble, but the undead don't seem to be coming towards us.
See, that's more news of unusual the absence of undead has struck people as unusual. How long have you been here for?
Well, I've only been here for about a year.
And your lord?
He'd set up shop probably about a year or two before that.
And neither of you have had any problems with the undead?
Well, he said he had to clear some out of the underground warrens here.
Okay, but not a huge problem.
Not a huge problem.
Okay. Have you had any contact at all with anyone from the keep?
Well, I did deal with a vampire lord back in my day, but he's probably still not around.
What dealings did you have back in the day?
Basically, we had promised to stay off his lands if we managed to unite the people.
Okay, and his promise in return was to stay off yours?
Well, his promise was to help protect the land from outsiders.
I see, yeah.
Basically, be a sort of protector of the lands.
What was your impression of him?
Well, considering he claimed to be an ancestor of most of the people here, he seemed to be a bit protective of them.
Okay. Hardly the type of person who'd be allowing... Well, it depends, I guess, on whose side of the war he's on. If it's an undead war, it might be that he's using that to win a war that he feels will protect his lands.
Well, the Traldar people were spread far and wide, so he may be trying to help his people in other lands.
Mm. So it might not be a case of shutting down the network, but just making sure that the person who's running the network is not the kind of person to misuse it.
He did hear from his master that a dwarven vampire had moved their forces into Galantry somehow from Rockholm region. There was supposed to be a ruin on the edge of the Ethengarian lands where a dwarven forge was destroyed and allowed the undead to flood the city. So that's Josh M, Ross, and Stefan.
I happen to know nothing about that. Yeah.
So you guys know all about that?
Yeah.
See, even if I didn't know that you guys know all about that, just that comment told me you guys know all about that. Alright, what if we were to approach the keep to talk to whoever is in charge there? Is there a way to do that wouldn't evoke or provoke that person? You know, is there a diplomatic approach that would lead to us living through the process?
If you had a Troldaran amongst you, it would be a lot easier.
I guess we can't ask him to come because he's got to take care of the keep. And I gather he's the only Troldar person there.
Well, one of the descendants of the Troldarans is, whereas he's probably the last Troldar on the surface still alive.
Well, unfortunately, having a paladin with us is not going to do any good.
Possibly not, but if we take a Troldaran with us, we might come out of it alive. If we have to approach the keep, because it could be from the sounds of things that if the old vampire person who was there back when this guy was uniting tribes and things, if he's still there, and his interest is protecting the lands, he may not be using the portal for what we would consider nefarious purposes. But to establish that, we might have to go to the keep and find out. Or we could try to explore the woods and see if we can find something there. Around near the keep. How did you guys want to approach it?
This dwarven vampire. What's do you know anything about the Baron's view on the dwarven vampire?
Just that the Baron was surprised to find a dwarven vampire, thinking that most dwarves wouldn't succumb to vampirism as far as he knew.
I was going to say that. I've never heard of a dwarven vampire before.
But the name seems to be called Redtooth.
Doesn't ring a bell, should it?
Really. And that's as much as the Lord has passed on what he knows about that vampire. There's supposed to be some undead coming out of the nation north of Wendar. So it looks as if it's a four-way battle between undead happening in Moldavia.
Where is this in relation to where we are? Because I'm hearing all of these names, but I have no clue.
So you're down here.
Geographically, yeah.
Moldavia's in here.
Yeah.
And Wendar is on the other side of this, to the north.
Right.
The Rockholm place is somewhere around here.
I see, yeah.
So they managed to get from here to there without being seen.
Right.
And you're expecting they're coming from down here up to there without being seen as well, which was why Redrin thought that because he did find out the vampire had come from Karamikos to Galantry, so he expected that there was a portal network there.
Right, I see.
He didn't know about the dwarf making it to Galantry, so he didn't know about if they had a portal network there.
Right, and so the dwarf moved out of Rockholm and into Glantry.
Yep.
Because we presume he didn't want to be drafted into the withdrawal.
This happened long before.
Oh, I see.
It happened about 3 to 4 years ago.
Okay, I see.
And they've been fighting in that region for control for about that time.
I see. Does he know anything about the war?
He's sure it's different vampires claiming to be the oldest and true vampire, trying to assert control over others.
How long is it to travel from here to the vampire keep?
From here to the keep, you could get there in about half a day.
Okay, so we could travel there during the day and maybe just look around the outside, see what we could see. Would you be okay with us using this as a base to do that?
You'd be happy with that.
Are you guys happy to try that? Like the next morning, travel out to where the keep is and have a look?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yep. Alright, so, in reward for him giving us all that information, Thala will happily share some stories with him, of, her and the adventures that Karakux has told her about. Just whatever kind of tales he'd like to hear.
Well, he's happy to hear any tales of things he's missed.
Since he's... can I do an insight check on it? Because I'm trying to decide if I should tell him our story about pilfering without giving too much details, but it's a happy story in the end. But I don't know if I can trust him not to tell that story to everybody he knows. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Give me an insight roll.
Hopefully I don't fail. I could do. Yeah, that's not... It's not gonna cut it. far as Sala's concerned, he's as trustworthy as her bestest friend. Yeah, it's not going to be anywhere near enough. 9.
No.
Yeah. I'd re-roll it, but...
Okay, so you do think you have taken his metal and...
yeah, he's my bestest buddy.
You believe he's fairly trustworthy, considering he's shared a lot of information with you so far.
Yeah.
So he hasn't really shared anything sensational.
Yeah, no, he's not shared anything we probably couldn't find out elsewhere aside from his own personal story.
And not much about the Lord of the Keep except that he's
No.
away. So he seems to have kept what he's supposed to protect secret.
Yeah. That doesn't mean I should be sharing lots of secrets with him, but I don't know the difference, so I'll tell him that story, but I'll try and leave all the key pieces of information out and just make it out to be just a tale I heard, like a folklore type tale, and hopefully he falls for it, but it depends on what he rolled on his insight.
Okay.
I wasn't suggesting you roll insight for him. That doesn't look good for me, because that's a lot higher than mine.
Okay. So he does say he has heard of goblins on the mountains. And that their technology is far more advanced than anyone else's.
Okay, so he already knows about that because of where they are in Karamikos? Yeah.
And that they were there when he was still walking around previously.
Oh, okay, so they've been there the whole time.
That's where they crashed.
So is that something that interests Geodry?
He does say that their technology doesn't seem to work far from the mountainside where they came down.
We've already been there.
Yeah, I know, but I thought you might find that interesting since it's related to pilfering.
Yeah, and he does have a tale of the passed down amongst the Traldar of the fiery descent of their vessel, as they called it.
Yeah.
Landing on the mountaintop up in the clouds, and that fire was seen from the mountaintop for about a day or two before
It diminished.
yeah.
Well,
And that a great crater had formed where it had landed.
I suggest apple pie for everyone and we go to bed. Or whatever dessert he has there. But hey, it's role-playing, so it could be apple pie.
You can do apple pie.
There you go.
We also do pecan pie.
Apple pecan pie?
And he has mango fresh drinks.
Sure. This all sounds good. I don't know where the hell he got mangoes from, but I'm not going to question it.
He deals with elves.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're always curious about what's happening in the area.
You guys don't want to ask him anything more specific?
I can't really think of anything at the moment.
Cheval's very quiet.
I'm pretty much set to go investigating tomorrow and stuff.
Okay, alright.
I.e. murder hobo.
No, we're just investigating for now. Murder hoboing.
As soon as he's
I
around
mean,
there front, he's gonna
Are
freak
you
out.
expecting me to sneak around
A little?
the big, bright, glowy thing that everyone can see from 10 miles away?
Don't you have an asbestos
Really?
cloak?
Listen, Cheval's going loud and proud, okay?
Don't you have a cloak with a hood?
Uh,
I'm fairly sure you have a cloak with a hood. You can't wear that just while we just figure out what's going on there.
Well, I do have a method of obscuring you, except you won't be able to see anywhere.
I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if we take the paladin, whether or not we'll all just die really fast.
You will not, because you have a paladin with you.
Yeah, no, the thing is, like, you give him an item that's got darkness on it.
I give
Listen,
Zalagar a letter to send if I don't return.
Last time I had someone try and play darkness on me, it got turned into a female, okay?
Yeah, but they were trying to do it as a trick.
That is true though. They did get turned into a woman. They just got the wrong woman.
And became a love interest for the female party.
Some type of trick. I was more like give you an item that had darkness cast on it, and then you can actually wander around.
The next
but you won't be able
morning-
to see anything.
Before we leave, Thala gives Salagar a letter to give in case she doesn't come back to send off.
Mm-hmm.
Tell my friends to look for me. I might be undead. Don't kill me on the battlefield.
Don't kill me on the battlefields.
Hello, my name is.
My name is Thala. I am unwillingly undead. Please resurrect me. She should just have a t-shirt that says that.
Quite possibly.
Well, we are fighting the Master these days.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a possible outcome.
It is.
We just need to find the doctor.
Okay, so in the morning you get ready to set out.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any special precautions you wish to take, considering you have some worries about the paladin being highly visible?
I would like the paladin to wear her cloak just for now. You know, you've got more chance of killing the vampire if they don't see her coming from 2 hours away. But if she's not going to wear a cloak, I'm not going to fight her on that. In terms of spells, if I wild shape, that doesn't take me very long to do, is it? I don't have to prepare any spells or anything like that before.
You don't have to prepare spells before.
Not unless I want to do the planar binding, but I won't be doing that right now. I'm wondering if it's worthwhile doing some religious education type stuff, or just what kind of things would I want to prep for if I'm about to go visit a vampire.
Oh, give me a religion roll and see if you can remember.
I don't really want to because it's probably going to be bad. It takes a long time to get there. Thinking this is my old sheet, so I may not be adding this up properly.
Yeah, I'll be trying to do a newer one for you.
Okay. So a religion roll, does that come under my skills where I'm proficient?
If you're proficient, yes.
But I don't have religion, I've only got arcana. So in which case I don't get anything to add to it, is that
You've got
right?
to add your wisdom to it.
So not going to be good.
Or your intelligence.
That's even worse. At least with wisdom I get to add 4. Intelligence is only +1. That depends on how old this sheet is. So it would be a 12,
Mm-hmm.
I think, at best. Which isn't, I don't think it's going to cut it.
Well, what about Chauvel and Yodri for their religion? Trying to figure out best things to do.
Ooh. Cool. I rolled a natural 20.
And then what does that add up to?
20.
So you got +0.
Yeah.
How do you have +0? Is that on your wisdom or?
No, religion's intelligence based.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, with the level up stuff, religion can be attributed to any attribute.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
just- you're just doing it from-
and it's 22.
But anything other than intelligence, you've got to justify before
Yeah.
you roll.
Well, no, I'm basically going it from knowledge, not from insight.
Then that would be intelligence.
Yeah. Basically remembering something.
And how about Chevelle? Whose religion should be a skill he has prepared.
Just realised I was muted.
That's why I kept mentioning your name.
Roll 17, got 26.
Okay, so
See, why
between,
can't I get rolls like that?
because your dice are trying to love you too much. They want you to keep rolling them.
No, I shouldn't roll.
I love you lots when it comes to combat data.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, it doesn't love me then either.
That's why you go for spells that don't require
Or
attack
you do
rolls.
the M tactic, you buy 7 different sets of dice until one of them eventually loves you.
Well, I did that. I did change dice from the previous roll to the next one, and I am about to change over to another dice. The problem is that you can't roll more than once for each time you've got to do something.
No. I'm not saying dice that you have currently on the table. I mean, M off camera would buy different sets of dice because
No, I do that
would try and kill
too.
her.
I do that too. It just doesn't work. It's a great way for collecting dice, though.
You're
Alright,
amusingly
I'll break the curse. I'll buy you a gift that says from Mia.
well, the funny thing is, every time M stole your dice, she rolled well.
Yep.
I know.
I should just start
brilliant.
stealing your dice and seeing how I roll. Alright, so you guys got
Okay,
26 and 20 to 22?
Whereas Thala was thinking bathing in garlic was the best defense.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we all know
Best defense is not to go.
the best defense is the best offense.
Whereas Yodri and Chevelle know that silver is your friend, as is holy symbols that of a god you believe in, and having cloves of garlic as well as running water can also help you greatly. So a decanter of endless water will give you a lot of advantages.
I
against...
have a decanter of endless water, so I'm going to have that ready. I
Look,
also...
because it said that vampires can't cross moving water. As for servants of vampires, they tend to have skeletons and zombies, which are fairly easy for you guys to overcome, as well as ghouls, which, as an elf, you're immune to the paralysis they cause.
Mm.
The other two are at risk, though. And then there are vampire spawn and servants that they can mentally dominate to look after them.
Oh, look, I've got daylight.
And it is rumored that some vampires utilize werewolves to protect their areas of interest.
So would cold do them more damage than, say, thunder?
Radiant would do them more damage than anything
Radiant.
else.
So if I were to create an elemental weapon and then make it radiant, it would hurt it. Okay, so that's
vampires being intelligent undead can be reasoned with. Though they can be also driven mad with fresh blood.
Can I also use control water with my never-ending decanter? Endless water?
Potentially.
Yep, okay, cool. Well, that's gonna probably be the types of spells I'll use then. It's good to know I can create water, apparently. So this is all good information.
Good thing about Create Water is you can produce drinkable water out of nothing.
Yeah. Alrighty. I feel I'm somewhat prepared. Thank you to Cheval and Yodri.
Yep, I can create and destroy water as well.
Nice.
Mhm.
So we've
Are
got
you sure
some.
you don't want to go? Are you sure you don't want to go along with your own knowledge of bathing yourself in garlic?
I was gonna actually get some garlic as well. I was hoping to have a garlic-filled breakfast, and maybe steal some garlic from the keep if they'll let me. Well,
They have lots
Hey,
of garlic in the
borrow.
keep because garlic is one of the national herbs they produce.
I will ask for some garlic to take with me.
And you notice that Druzzle seems to enjoy chewing on the raw garlic.
Yep, I will not only chew on the garlic, I will press it and make some garlic oil and use it like perfume.
Mm-hmm.
So that I smell like I'm spaghetti.
Druzzle does suggest the neck is a good place for rubbing it in.
Yeah.
Though he doesn't suggest adding butter to it because that might just make it tempting.
Yeah, depends on who too. But yeah. No butter, just garlic oil.
Okay, as it is getting on to 10 o'clock and we are missing a few people.
Yep.
I thought instead of getting into actual combat tonight at such a late time,
Yep.
we might say we finish the session with you guys arriving at Koroski Keep
Yep.
and pick up next session with everyone who shows up having also travelled with you.
Okay.
Yep.
How does that sound to you guys?
Yeah, that sounds alright.
Good.
Otherwise we could have probably gone for another hour, but people are sounding a bit tired.
I don't know, which people are you thinking about? All of us?
And me.
Yeah, you definitely sound a little bit tired.
Well, I've been trying to get stuff ready for games and just struggling.
Well, I guess with games like today's game, you don't know which quest people are going to pick, so you can't prep.
And I
as
do like
well.
to give people options instead of just saying, you shall do this one thing. Because it doesn't
Instead,
feel
I'm
fun
going to
for
give
me.
you 10 options, and then you're going to have to work out what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Martin, you can give us one thing or 10 things, and yet somehow we'll still find a side quest.
I don't mind as long as you're doing the side quest.
Yeah.
The thing I dislike is when you go, what do you want to do? No, what do you want to do? No, what do you want to do? And then you sort of sit there going, please be
So
something.
next session is when we come up to the vampires. I'm going to say, look, there's a shiny unicorn over there. And everyone's going to go hunt the shiny unicorn.
Well, Therion's just telling you now he sees a shiny unicorn from the base of the keep, and we should run after it.
And then you find out the shiny unicorn's actually a vampire in alternate form.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, the
See-
shiny unicorn's a nightmare.
While the GM may not railroad you, he certainly will help you stay on your side quest, if he can.
They make your side quest more interesting.
Yes.
All the unicorns, all the time.
Okay, so some of us are doing some painting on Monday. If you'd like to talk about it, I'll chat to you after we end the session.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I thought I'd mention that before we finish. So I go to end credits and then I'll tell you about what we've got happening on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so end credits now.